Hello and welcome to this episode of the No Filters podcast by Sunderland Mind. Today we're joined on the podcast by Dr. Angela Brown, CEO and Director of Training in Care. Training in Care is a Skills for Care endorsed centre of excellence providing bespoke training across the North East. They offer professional development courses from orientation to degree level in the UK, with the aim of getting people into work in the care sector. They have evidence of over 200 jobs being created through this vocational training into employment model. Angela gives some words of advice for our listeners and tells the story of how she left school with only 2 O-levels to having now received her doctorate degree and owning her own company. Angela talks about the importance of believing in yourself and of those softer skills that we all have, such as time management, the ability to be personable, drive, determination, thinking outside of the box, and how they matter just as much, if not more, than the grades we receive from exams. As exam season is around the corner, we talk a little bit about how sometimes we can feel that the grades we receive define us, and if we get a grade that we're not so happy with, then that's it for us and we can't move any further. But Angela talks about how that really isn't the case, and this is a really great episode, especially if you're coming up to exam results or degree classifications, or if you're just looking to have a change in career or move jobs or something like that. Keep listening to find out more. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Angela. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit, Angela?
Hi, my name's Angela Brown, and I work in the care sector and training. I train care workers and childcare workers.
Brilliant. So for our listeners, I heard Angela speak at an International Women's Day event, and I thought she would be a brilliant guest to have on the podcast after hearing her speak about her sort of journey and her career. So I wanted to bring that conversation to our podcast for our listeners. So Angela, I don't know if you want to start maybe with education, with school, how you sort of found it. Do you think you fit the model of sort of academia, as it were, like education as it is? How did you find it?
Absolutely not. At 16, I was more interested in going out and boys, and I really was not interested in any kind of academic thing at all. I think I found school somewhere that I was dictated to, and I had the feeling that I was doing things for teachers and not for myself. Now, I only know that with the benefit of great age, but at the time, that's what it felt like. I was doing things to please teachers, and obviously I was the kind of awkward individual that didn't want to please a teacher particularly, and I didn't do well in my what was then O-levels, which is now GCSEs, despite being predicted to get good grades. I didn't, because I just didn't put the work in, really. So my kind of career I had to learn things myself, so I had to realise that your future or your career is in your control. And I think what people generally feel is things are done to them, and that's when they find a problem. I felt that I had to learn what the boring job was if you didn't have any qualifications. So I did some pretty boring jobs, and that they were the jobs that kind of made me. I was a darkroom technician in a hospital for a while. I was paid very poorly, and I was bored. So it's those kind of things that led me back into education, because I thought, if I want to do something with my life, I've got to prove that I've got the ability. So I think that was my thing of education, was I learned by not achieving. And I think what I said to you, and I said to people in the room at that particular event, was I did my doctorate from somebody who got to GCSEs, and that is something I like to get across to everybody, that it's never an end. Education is a process. And it has to be when you're ready for that part of the process, and only you know that. So you've got that control over the process. Basically. So I think that was the result of my. I have got a doctorate in workforce development now. I sit on international boards and national boards. I've got imposter syndrome, because sometimes I think, what on earth am I doing here? the two GCSEs kind of still sticks in my head an awful lot. But I think it's allowing yourself to do that journey and allowing yourself to think positively about what you were able to achieve. And I think that goes for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, if you can come from two GCSEs to a doctorate, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I was totally disengaged with education. And I'm in it. Now I'm in it.
Yeah. So do you want to sort of from there, from getting the doctorate, then where did you sort of go from that point?
Well, I think my interest has been about people and how people feel good about what they do and what they can achieve. So for me, education brought my background of a qualified teacher and a qualified social worker, brought those two jobs together in my head, because it was about enabling people. And that's the purpose of education. It's about getting people to see what they can do and showing them the journey about what is achievable. To do that, you need to have an understanding of learning and how that appeals or doesn't appeal to people. So the things that excite me and interest me around the workforce development is trying to be adaptive to what people need. So education has gone very much on the terms of money driven. And that is the reason I left the college I was teaching in to set up my own company, because I was told you need so many people in the class to run the class. So we were giving advice and guidance to people, basically based on what I needed to keep my staff. So it was like, right, we need 15 to make this viable. So it was about money. And it became a business. So once they taught me those skills, I wasn't comfortable with what I was doing, so I set up my own company. And I set that up in 1999. And that has given me some ownership over what I think education is about and what I think skills are about. And that's what the doctorate is. It's about looking at the communities and looking within communities, what is it that are barriers for people to achieve what they want to achieve, and how can we adapt to help people achieve the vision or the things that they want. And also get them to see, for most, right at the beginning, is get them to see how valuable they are. We tend not to do that, so it's about, these are the skills you've got, this is what you already do. And all you need is this little bit of paper that tells you that you can do it. It's not rocket science. So that's how I've used my the doctorate and my kind of background, is to create programs of progression and programs that will help people have some control of their own start and finish, basically.
Brilliant. And could you tell our listeners a little bit, what do you think might have been the hardest moment for you over setting up your own company? Any barriers that you faced?
Niamh, I don't know where to begin there, because there are so many. The barriers, they're not fantastic barriers about starting your own business. You need to have an idea or a passion or something that you really want, and you need to be able to think that through logically. So when I've supported other businesses, you sometimes get business where the business idea isn't really there, because it's not something that will work in business. So you need to be able to be honest with people and get people to realise that what they can and what they can't do. But you don't need to just give them another barrier. You need to start thinking about, what is it from your own experience, or people in your network, or people that you know that have been there. And we've got organisations that do that within the city and within the Northeast, that will work together with to help people achieve that aim. And I think that's where I would always kind of signpost people to.
As you know, as we spoke about before recording, it's exam time, it's results time, it's graduation coming up in the next couple of weeks. For a lot of young people, and a lot of young people who we work with, we know that that's a major source of stress for them, worry, anxiety, thinking. And I know you said that you got the 2 O levels, and then now you own your own company. So I don't know if maybe we wanted to just talk a little bit about that, and how, I know you mentioned the softer skills and things like that. So from your perspective as an employer, if you had any sort of words of advice for young people who maybe come out of their exams and think, oh, I didn't get the grades that I was hoping for, there's no hope. Or even people who are graduating who think, oh, maybe I picked the wrong degree. I know I've had a lot of friends who got to the end of it, and although they've got a fantastic mark, they've thought, that was the total wrong subject for me, and maybe I should have done something completely different. If you had any sort of words of wisdom for those who might be feeling like that.
I think, yes, I think I have, because I've been there. Sometimes you need disappointments in life in order to make you the kind of person that you become. So every disappointment will be something that you can take advantage of, because it'll be a learning situation. So that doesn't help when it's happening to you right at that time, because at that time it's devastation, you can't see beyond it, you think, that's me finished, I put that work in, this is what I've got, there's nothing else. And that's a very narrow view of what exams can do negatively to you. So exams are there to sort of say, this is what you're able to do. But you as a person have so many other skills and things that are not things that we can examine very easily. So in my sector, the care sector, it's really important to be the kind of person that has some empathy, that has compassion, that likes working with people. Those are all soft skills that we can't examine in that way, but they are absolutely essential to an employer. So my advice would be, look at what your degree or your qualifications or what you have, and try and turn them around to something positive about, right, I can demonstrate this level. I no longer want to do, I can't think of anything that I wouldn't really like to do. Oh, IT, I'm really bad at that. Right, I wish I hadn't done this IT thing, because I can't see myself going forward in that. What that level is just describing your ability to work. Turn the other things round and start talking about the passions that you have, the things you enjoy doing, that you like going out with people, you like doing the things that you like doing, and use that level of qualification to say, this is my starting point, but this is where I need to be, or this is where I want to be. And lots of young people, including myself, find that difficult. Sometimes they need support in order to see the way through that. And there is advice and guidance around for young people, both through their universities, their colleges, or the training providers that they've been to. Go back and go, right, I've got this now what? Because our job is education, and our job in education is to enable. So you're not finished when you finish with us. You will continue with it, because we will always have some information, advice and guidance that will help again. So go back and ask would be my advice.
Brilliant. And how do you think young people, or even people who are maybe starting again in their career, maybe having a career change or anything like that, sort of like find their place or find their slot? Or do you think it's just a journey that you've got to go on, and you've just got to trust in it and see where it takes you?
There are lots of tools that educators use to kind of assess people's skills and levels and what their interests are. So any kind of learning that you go on should be able to narrow that down and give you an independent advice. There's also the National Career Service that you can go to independently. For younger people, there's the Connection Service. So there are people there there are bodies there that you can go to. There are organisations that you can go to. You don't need to do that on your own. From a personal point of view, I think it's about maybe sitting down and thinking, what do I like doing and what do I want to do? What are the things that interest me? And start looking from that point. So building something that you want, and that in itself is sometimes an eye-opener for young people, because they know what they don't want to do, but they don't really know what they want to do. So I think I got into social work and teaching basically through parents and people that were around me at the time. But what I developed was something that through time that I decided that maybe social work was really interesting. I enjoyed doing it. I did a lot in child psychiatry and safeguarding. But what the negative thing for me was I was affecting a very few people's lives, and I could see that if people had more confidence, more self-esteem, they could actually achieve more. And I feel I needed to go through that to learn that really what I wanted to do was educate, but educate not in the sense of always exams, looking at positives in people that they have got and what they can offer, I think. And everybody can. Everybody has got things that they can offer. Even people that come to us sometimes with feeling of nothing, absolutely nothing, and absolutely worthless. Nobody is worthless. So it's up to us to work together as educators to find out the things that you want and to help you on that journey. And you will get there.
Absolutely, because I think as well, like exams, and I know we've spoke about exams, sort of looking for the academic side. They don't examine you on those softer skills, which you can have as many academic qualifications as you like, but those soft skills are absolutely essential, and without them in a workplace and for a working culture, just don't work, and it wouldn't work out.
You're absolutely right. And those softer skills are difficult to capture, but we do that when we get to know people. So I think generally education's changed in that we are trying to capture those things now. But you are so right. Having the right morals, having the right attitude, having the right thing is not easy for everybody. Some people have a start position where they've never been given that respect themselves. So they're even further back upon this journey, but it's still a journey. And it's still a fact of saying, right, that's where you are now. Where is it that we need to be next? What is it we need to do next? And build that confidence and self-esteem up. But you're absolutely right. Employers do really want people who basically turn up on time, are interested in what they're doing, want to progress themselves, and any employer would support that, because that's what we need.
Definitely. So for any of our young people or anybody who's listening, what, from your point of view as an employer, as a company owner, would be maybe 3 things that, for someone who's came out of education and maybe isn't happy with their exam results or isn't happy with sort of where they are, what's 3 sort of key things that you think could be worked on that people should prioritize in sort of improving, whether that be the soft skills or taking courses, improving their education, things like that? What do you think the 3 key things are if you're in that position that you should focus in on?
I think get yourself a little personal plan. No matter how you do that, whether you sit in your house and do it, whether you go out for advice for it, just make a list of the things that you want out of life and that make you happy. Look at it as a journey. So consider the things that you already have, that you're strong and you're good at. You might be good at sport, you might be good at, there are a variety of things you might be good at, and try and build into that journey what you already have, and then look at the steps that you need to achieve it. So yes, I would always say that, qualifications and things do help. Vocational qualifications are something that are different from academic qualifications. So if it's something that you're the kind of learner that likes more practical stuff, you want to see the reason for it, that's that kind of learner I am, then vocational qualifications are often the way forward. So looking at, what is it that interests you and learning on the job as an apprentice or whatever. But I think you need to think about what you want yourself first, and you need to really value what you've got to offer. And then from there, we can build, or you can build anything.
Definitely. So do you want to also give our listeners, because we've not actually spoke about it, what your company do more broadly? Because obviously you do own a company, and just sort of tell our listeners a little bit about what your company does.
Right, so my company is called Training and Care, and what we do is we target mostly long-term unemployed or young people through study programs are thinking about care as a career. And too long, the care sector has been the poor relation of the workplace. So we've had a lot of investment in health, a lot of investment in other sectors, but care has been the poor relation. The pandemic changed that to some respect, when you could see that there's an awful lot of jobs within the care sector. So our job is to look at the individual and say, this is what the care sector is about. It's a massive sector. It's not just residential or that. There's a huge sector. And also consider about, we like to look at progression for people. So we've got people that started with us with no qualifications that have ended in university, doing social work, nursing, teaching. But at the beginning of their journey, they didn't believe they had that ability. So it takes longer, but it's about proving to yourself as much as proving. So that's what the company does. It looks at people who were disengaged at school, maybe. It looks at people who have changed career, who now want to come into the care sector, and it says, this is what we can see in you. This is what we think you've got. These are the gaps that you need in order to demonstrate what you've got. And we do a full pen profile. I've taken people along a pathway, and hopefully we improve the quality of what we're getting in the care sector. And we'll only do that when we start creating career pathways that make it a lucrative sector for people to enter, and not just, we've got anybody who can deliver care. Care is extremely important, and it's a really worthwhile, rewarding job. But now we need to work at making it an attractive job to people, for people to enter the sector. So that's what the company's doing. Generally at the moment, we're working with different partners to achieve that. And hopefully we'll get a kind of academy of quality care in the Northeast that says, this is what we can do in the Northeast. Come to the Northeast and watch what we can do, because we will take you on a journey. That's the passion behind the company, really. It's been going 23 years. It's changed from specifically childcare when we started, and broadened out into care. We've looked at things like related subject areas. So we've taken things that are very generic to all employers. Things we've mentioned, the timekeeping, the reliability, the passion about the job and the working. And we've applied that to different sectors. So it's about evolving the company and making the company do what it ethically and has a passion about. And that's what the team get really excited when they see people achieve. So that's our payback. We also get money for doing it. It is the business at the end of the day. So we're there to make money. We're not there just to provide a service. If we can do both, then that's the glory. If we start delivering what we don't think is so good, we probably move our service a little bit to where we feel that we've got the most impact and that we can help. And that makes us sound a bit like, that makes us sound almost angelic. We're not. It's a business at the end of the day, but we will not just jump on something for the sake of we can do it. It has to fit in with what our vision is as a company, and that's about enablement, and it's about doing the things we love as a team as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's why my team has been with me a long time, because we keep changing and moving on, but we also share the same values. Any young person should find out what the values and the ethics are of any employment they go into, because that will make a big difference to whether they'll be happy there or not.
Yeah.
So that's training and care. I can talk about them all day, as you know. Stop me now.
No, definitely. I just want to say thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been brilliant, and I think it's been a really good conversation for especially young people to listen to at this time of year specifically. I know a lot of the young people we work with, like I said, are anxious and worried and stressed about all of these results coming through and what am I going to do next, and I think when you look at it, when you leave school, you're 16 and you don't have to know what you want to do. And I think there's a lot of pressure to pick your next step or pick your lifelong sort of career that you have to stick with forever. And that's just not the case. And highlighting those softer skills and those things that you talk through, which I think will be really valuable for our younger listeners, especially to listen to.
Thank you, Neve. It's been a pleasure.
Lovely. And just for quickly, where can people find you and your company if they were listening?
Right. Training and care. So our website is www. I should know all of this off the top of my head. I told you I was rubbish at the IT. We have a website address. We have courses that are available in Sunderland South Tyneside mainly at the moment. I think the best thing to do would be to give you the office number, which, Neve, I'm basically looking at thinking, what's our office number? See, you can run a successful company, but you can't actually know your telephone number. All of us are fallible. So our telephone number is 0191 537 3529. So if there are young people that are 16 to 25 on a study programme, or basically people who don't know where to go, our contracts really start with 19 plus, but we will always listen to somebody and we will always signpost them somewhere. So just get in touch and we'll do what we can.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, Neve. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Sunderland Mind No Filter. Find us on Facebook at Mind Sunderland or at www.sunderlandmind.co.uk. As well, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube and Twitter at Sunderland Mind. And don't forget to like and share this episode of the podcast. See you next time.